Welcome to the 6th Celebrating Her Awards, brought to you by IIPT and Messe Berlin. A huge thank you to those two organizations for making this happen. My name is Daniela Wagner, and I'm the Group Business Development Director of AJcobs Media Group, well known around the world for titles such as Travel Weekly. What a pleasure it is to be here in person after 4 years and to be able to do this face to face. It's so good to be back. The IIPT Global Awards, celebrating her, are intended to acknowledge and felicitate exceptional women in the fields of travel, tourism, and hospitality. Individuals with a clarity of vision and mission who understand and believe that tourism, perhaps the biggest industry in the world, well, certainly the biggest industry in the world, could become the first global peace industry, and who have worked relentlessly towards fostering the tourism business as a vehicle for peace. They're individuals who have demonstrated strong personal values and determination to make the difference and are worthy of recognition and reward. They are also great role models for the younger generation to follow, who we are so keen to attract into our industry. I'm so happy to be here with you, and thank you also for all of you for finding your way up here. It's not the most easy part of ITB to find. It is now my great pleasure to welcome my great friend, Rika Jean-Francois, who's the CSR Commissioner for Messe Berlin and one of the founding supporters of the Celebrating Her Awards, to share a few words. Rika, please join me on the stage.
Yeah, thank you, Daniela. Thank you. I'm so happy that you are here too. And I know that we have somebody watching there as well, from India, the founder actually, the co-founder of the IIPT Awards, but you will come back to that later. But I just wanted to say hi to Ajay. Ajay sent me a letter actually because, you know, IIPT stands for the International Institutes for Peace and Tourism. And this is something we should really celebrate because we all need peace. And the founder of IIPT is Louis d'Amour. He has a wonderful name, Amour. And he wanted to send a video message, but he couldn't send it for some reason. And so they asked me to please read it out. And I'm going to do that now. So, oh, it says, I would like to thank Rika Jean-Francois.
Thank you very much.
For again hosting IIPT India for the 6th Celebrating Her Awards. In 2015, Ajay Prakash and Kiran Yadav brought 16 enthusiastic students to the IIPT World Symposium in South Africa, cultivating sustainable and peaceful communities and nations through tourism, culture, and sport. And that's the start of IIPT India. Since its founding in 2015, the branch, International Institute for Peace India, has celebrated several significant events, most worthy of which are the Celebrating Her Awards, Global Awards for Exceptional Women in Travel and Tourism, and also the path-breaking Diplomats for Peace event happening in New Delhi. The first ever event brought together more than 40 ambassadors and diplomatic personnel representing 95 nations in Delhi. The essence of diplomacy, said Ajay, is the preservation of peace and harmony. We wanted to honor the key role diplomats play, balancing national interests with global human values, facilitate each one of you as a true messenger of peace. Can that happen in Berlin next year too? I really want to have that message out. So India was recognized as the land of ahimsa, acceptance and assimilation. So IIPT has recognized the instrumental role of women as global leaders from its very beginning with its first global conference, which took place in 1988 and was a conference on tourism, a vital force for peace. And this one was held in Vancouver in Canada. That event featured Her Excellency Vigdis Finnbogadottir, then President of Iceland, and the world's first elected woman head of state, as honorary chairperson of IIPT's first global conference. President Vigdis gained more prominence as host of the 1986 Reykjavik summit between Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev. The IIPT Vancouver conference first introduced the concept of sustainable tourism, as well as a transformative, we still have that slogan today, the power of transformation, as a transformative new paradigm for a higher purpose of tourism. So the recognition of women leaders continued with IIPT's second global conference in Montreal, building a sustainable world through tourism, with Queen Noor of Jordan that time as honorary chairperson. The Montreal Conference was the first international conference on sustainable tourism in this area, and it was instrumental in paving the way for the World Bank's recognition of tourism as a key industry for poverty reduction and sustainable economic development for developing countries. So the Celebrating Her Awards are a tribute to the wonderful women in our industry. And I would like to thank again Rika Jean-Francois for hosting this event. And to congratulate Ajay Prakash for organizing the prestigious 16th, it will be 16th too, but now we talk about the 6th, Celebrating Her Awards. So, and Lou also says, I look forward to passing the baton of leadership to Ajay as the new president and CEO of IIPT. Wow. As we rededicate Bethany beyond the Jordan, the baptismal site of Christ, as an IIPT Peace Park, originally dedicated precisely on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, first year of the new millennium, and dedicate the new IIPT Peace Park at Azraq Wetlands Reserve in September of this year. And may God bless you all. That was a message of Louis Amour, founder of IIPT. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rika. Okay, if these awards have been designed for women who've made a difference, I'd also like to pay a tribute to a man who has worked tirelessly to promote both these awards and the work of IIPT, my dear friend Ajay Prakash, founder of IIPT India, who is joining us from Mumbai, India. Ajay, over to you, and welcome.
Thank you, Daniela. Hello, everybody, and greetings on the occasion of the International Women's Day. And welcome to the 6th Global Celebrating Her Awards. Of course, like Lou, I would also like to thank Rika for her unstinting support, which has made the Celebrating Her Awards a marquee event and an annual feature at ITB Berlin. Till date, we have awarded over 20 wonderful women across the world who have made a difference. And today, another 3 will join the ranks of these ladies. IIPT, to give you a brief background, was formed 37 years ago in 1986 by the visionary Dr. Louis D'Amour, what a wonderful name, whose message you just heard from Rika, and who looked beyond the obvious benefits and posited a higher paradigm for tourism, one which envisaged that tourism could make the world a better place. The philosophy of IIPT is based on 2 very simple concepts. One, that tourism could become the first global peace industry. It is considering it is one of the largest industries. And number 2, more importantly, that every tourist is potentially an ambassador for peace. Think about it. It's simple, but it's true. And it's possible if enough people believe in it. You know, I'm reminded of the words of the late, great John Lennon, who sang, "Imagine all the people sharing all the world." Now that's the dream. That's the dream that keeps IIPT going. That's what drives our chapters across the globe. IIPT's mission is to spread greater awareness about the force or the power of tourism as a force for good. And a big part of this is what has now been identified and named as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 5. which is gender parity and the empowerment of women. The Celebrating Her awards recognize that no global initiative can succeed if you leave out half the world's population. It's women. And therefore, the attempt that ITB and IIPT do here is to try and remedy that imbalance. As Daniela rightly pointed out to you, the awards are intended to felicitate, to acknowledge, to hold up as role models exceptional women in the field of tourism. Because it is important to recognize that younger women need role models. The men have run the world for thousands of years and possibly haven't done such a great job. But if we do this right, and if we play it right, and we get more women involved at higher decision-making positions, possibly we can make a difference. We follow a fairly rigorous process for the awards. An international jury picks the winners from an extensively researched shortlist, which is compiled by students, MBA students from 2 or 3 universities, where my colleague Kiran Yadav is a professor. We give them this job as part of their assignment. They come up with a whole lot of names. We go through them, then we put them forward to our jury. And of course, we evaluate leadership, we evaluate contribution to community, innovation, the use of technology, contribution to education and research. But the driving principle is to pick women of substance who've gone beyond mere professional success. Women who've not only empowered themselves, but continue to inspire and empower others. Each one of our award winners in the past, as well as today, exemplify this primary driving principle. Women and the feminine, well, woman and the feminine principle has always been very important and has a special place in India. Our scriptures and history talk of women who were decision makers, who were rulers, who were thinkers, who were musicians, who were administrators. They were known for their valor, their knowledge, and their skills. Feminine power in the Hindu religion has even been imbued with divinity. We have a number of goddesses, and they are as powerful as the gods that we have. As a matter of fact, very often, their male counterparts need to make way for these goddesses. Yesterday, I had the privilege to participate in 2 very impactful webinars on the theme Women Facing Forward. This was organized by your colleague Reza Sultani from IIPT. And I had the opportunity to listen to powerful women from Africa, from Asia, from across the world. And it is evident that these women are emphatically stepping forward and assuming leadership roles, whether it's in policy, whether it's in advocacy, whether it's in the adoption of new technology, they are taking charge. And that is what we hope to achieve, to transform women into agents for change and drivers of growth, not beneficiaries of concessions. India has assumed the presidency of the G20 this year. There are a number of schemes that are operational within the country for women's empowerment. The Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign of the government, which translates as Save Your Daughters, Educate Them, is a remarkable success story and has transformed the lives of young girls and young women, even in remote villages. The G20 presidency, in my opinion, is an opportunity to reset the agenda for inclusive and sustainable development, to place women at the heart of our efforts to create a better world. Thank you all once again for joining us in celebrating her.
Thank you, Ajay. It's now my pleasure to welcome Noredah Othman, who is the CEO of Sabah Tourism Board, to join me on the stage. Noredah, please come up here. She's very kindly agreed to share a few personal reflections with us. Thank you, Noredah.
Thank you, Daniela. Can you see me, Mr. Ajay? He's on mute already. A very good
Oh,
afternoon.
now I can.
Hello. How are you?
Hello, Noredah. Very well. So glad you could make it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, while in Berlin, do the Berliner does, right?
Ronnie,
Just
so
get
do it
into
super
the,
fast. I'll
the
just
mood.
do 2 questions.
No, that's fine, ladies. It's your day. It's International Women's Day, so the men can't say anything. Anyway, a very good afternoon once again. My name is Noredah Othman. As what Daniela has said, I am the CEO of Sabah Tourism Board. You must be thinking, who's she? What is Sabah Tourism Board? Where does she come from? Well, I come from Malaysia, from the state of Sabah, which is the second largest state in Malaysia, located on the island of Borneo, an island which is the third largest island in the world. So we have just launched our new destination campaign called Feel as in F-E-E-L, not F-I-L-L, Feel Sabah North Borneo. That's a destination branding that we have brought to Berlin to launch since we've just come back after the horrifying 2.5 years. So we were very happy to see all our friends and all that. But that's Berlin, that's ITB. I'm here as Ajay has kindly invited me to speak on this wonderful International Women's Day to just share about my experience as a woman in the tourism industry. And I have been in the industry for 32 years. Can you guess how old I am? 25? Well, yeah, 32 years in the tourism industry. And I am a person who had to work from the bottom till my current position now. So that's 32 years, not that long. I started when I was 23 years old, straight out of school, looking for a job, not knowing where I was going to do, what I was going to do was ahead of me. So at that time, future is not so great. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was invited because, invited by the State Tourism Board to join them as a clerical person, rather a receptionist, someone to welcome our visitors at, we call ourselves tourist assistants because this is an information counter. So I was the first tourist assistant in the city, right there. 23 years old, don't know what to do. Oh, let's just do this. Why? I was picked. I could speak English. I studied in Singapore for 8 years during my high school. So what my dad says, you can speak English or you can conquer the world. Is that right? Thank you. I guess he was right. That's why I'm here 32 years later. Maybe to some people it took a long time. But for me, tourism is something really, really special. I hope you all agree, since everyone's in the tourism industry. It involves every level of the society, I feel. And as a woman in Sabah, tourism is not known. What is tourism for a young girl of 23 years old? All I had to do, they said, someone comes into the office, you said, hello, good morning, or good afternoon. Welcome to the Sabah Tourism Information Center. What can I do for you? That's easy, right? But then people come in and sit in front of me, I just booked hotel and they don't have my reservation. And I said, okay, what do I do with your reservation? I had no idea. But I learned when I was studying in high school in Singapore that you have to be very resourceful. And I learned that throughout the years. You have to be resourceful in tourism. You have to be able to solve the problems. You have to find solutions. Not just say, I don't know, I can't help you. I'm sure most of you in the tourism industry know, whether you are a tour operator, you're a hotelier, every day what you do is actually solving someone's problem. Do you agree with me? And I think women do that best. Sorry, guys. But I do think women do that best. Why? Because we can multitask. I am a mother when I go home. I'm a wife when I get home. The soonest I step out of my car, my husband says, "What's for dinner?" But I'm lucky. My husband is very understanding. He says, "It's okay, I just cooked. You eat whatever I cook for you. Since all you do is spend your time in the meetings, meeting after meetings." So I'm a lucky woman. So that's my daily life. But over the 32 years, I have climbed the ladder slowly but surely. And what I learned most is we're very resourceful as a woman. You have to be. What people say you can't do, you have to do it. If you don't know what to do, you learn. Today you can Google. But those 30 years ago, no, you can't Google. You just have to make mistakes and get up again and learn and do it better. That's my experience. And I think a lot of women do that. From a single girl, and I got married. That's how I sort of climbed the ladder in life, personally, as well as in work. I was a young girl, of course, single. Yeah, so while working, I also got married. I had my 3 kids. I have 3 lovely children, 22, 21, and 17. While doing that, at the same time, I try and climb the ladder. So that's what I have had to do in the tourism industry. But most of all, women, when they want to do something and they do it passionately, they're able to achieve what they dream of. Yeah. Like I said, in Sabah, 30 years ago, we were still very conservative. Most of the girls at home, they're not allowed to work in hotels because hotels has a strange connotation. Why do you want to work in a hotel? That's not safe for girls. But today, I'm very proud to say that Sabah has really developed leaps and bounds. Yeah, the industry. My Minister of Tourism is a lady. I'm a lady, and my previous boss was a lady. God bless her. So there's a lot of women in my office. I think it's dominated by ladies. Not because of me, but it has always been like that. This is the multitasking thing that we do best, I suppose. So we are perhaps 60% ladies in the office and 40% are men. But the most important part is, I think, the passion in tourism that we have in the office, the dedication that we have, has brought us to where we are today as a tourism destination. So we're very popular as a wildlife and conservation destination. And I myself is very proud because we have seen what tourism can do for the women. In the villages that we have up north in Sabah, we have ladies that strings beads like this. This is a litai bead that is strung, hand-strung by the women folks, the Rungus community. So they do this, and we buy it off them and present it to our guests. So this is just some of the things that we help the ladies in our community. And this makes them stronger. They do crafts and all that. Most of the craft work are done by the ladies in the villages. And this helps them in terms of earning income, additional income for their families. Yeah? And the ladies in our community also are very entrepreneurial. We have the Sabah Women Entrepreneurial Association. We have Sabah Women Advisory Council. So in Sabah, we're very blessed that in a way we are given almost equal opportunity as the men, be it in industries, tourism, as well as in education. Yeah. So for myself as a woman, I'm very happy, very blessed, and today I'm here standing in front of you. So once again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and to all the strong. Even if you're not a strong woman, you don't have to be strong 100% or every day of the year. Yeah, to me, I think we're only human. We have our days, but most of all, believe what you can do what you want to do. Yeah, I think that's the way we go. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noredah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can take that. Thank you. Right, okay. We're very short of time, so I'm going to thank this beautiful and passionate and resourceful lady, Noredah, for her wonderful speech, and I'm going to welcome Rika back on stage, and also we're going to do a speed panel for 5 minutes, okay? We can do this, ladies, and I'm going to welcome my two friends, Debbie Flynn, Managing Partner of the Global Travel Practice Leader of Finn Partners. Please join me on the stage. And also Helena Egan, who has recently joined Adventure Tech and in Norway as the Chief Strategy Officer. Yes, I'm very sorry.
Let's run. We're running.
So we're dealing with a very short, sharp, and incisive dive into a conversation around gender and tourism for peace, okay? To start with, I'm going to kick off with you, Helena. Tell us why either gender or tourism for peace is important to you personally or your organization. Same question to the other two ladies.
Well, very briefly, having been born in a country with very big country, but 5 million people, village with 700 people. I'm actually from a country that was the first country in the world that gave the right to vote and run for office for both men and women in 1906. I was going to quiz everyone, but it's Finland, because we're running out of time. So I was very lucky to be born and live in a country with gender equality. And one of the things when I traveled, I met so many amazing people. And one very quick story was Albania. So I was in Albania and met a young waiter called Nartil. I'm still in touch with him. And he explained to me that in there, they have 5 religions. And I have to look at this. They call it the interfaith and interreligious harmony. And it's absolutely beautiful. And recently what they have done, because I've been following them, they have a department of women, 5 women from 5 different religions, and they work together. And if you think of kind of the history, the very horrifying history that that country has. So my father told me when I was very young, when you travel, always listen, learn, and absorb, but also share. And I think that kind of puts everything together. If you think of the gender equality, the peace for tourism, and looking at how religion can also be good if you all share it.
Thank you very much. Debbie.
Thank you, Daniela. I think for me, I've heard the expression role models twice today, and I think it is all about women inspiring women. We've got some amazing female leaders out there, but we've got a long way to go on the journey. There was a WTTC APTMED survey out last week that said that we're still only at 7% of women on boards. We're on the way. From 2007, there were 28. There was 17%, now there's 28%. So I think we're on the way, but I think I'd like to give a couple of really good examples. You started, you were talking at the beginning about Iceland, who are one of our clients, and the current First Lady of Iceland is in Washington today promoting her book, which is all about female empowerment and enlightenment. And I was just going to read very quickly. It's a fascinating window into what a more gender equal world would look like and why it's worth striving for. I mean, Iceland, when we talk about peace, it's a nation that has no army, it's very peaceful, and they're a really good example of how they've been able to level the playing field, pay parental leave, affordable childcare, and its broad support for gender equality as a core value, which I think is what's really important. And we see examples every day in our clients. Intrepid Traveller, a great example, where they've partnered in the last year with Bosnia-Herzegovina, and they have they've come up with, from the USA program, tours that empower and show off to consumers some of the female community projects. For instance, I think I wrote down here, part of the tour includes Sarajevo's only female coppersmith. And then recently, because they held the World Rafting Championships, they've got female raft leaders. In Morocco, Zina, who runs EMI for Intrepid, she helped empower female leaders, which was not allowed in Morocco many years ago, and they have female-only tours. So I think it's about women showing women. And I was talking earlier to Kat from TravelZoo, and we were saying that actually our children, they look at women and they think, yeah, I can do that. So I think we are now beginning to inspire. And you know, when we look ahead, we're going to be seeing, you know, the university students now that will be the middle management in a few years. And I do believe that we are empowering them to feel that they can do what they want to do.
Thank you very much. Rika.
Yeah, I mean, yes, when you said that, I was just thinking of that there are so many regional differences, of course. I mean, here in the Western, so-called Western world, but also in the many emerging destinations, this is really a fact that we're thriving and everything is getting better, even though there is not even equal pay in Germany. I mean, no? So we are in the middle of Europe and we are like, but there's still not equal pay, even in Germany. But also if you look at other countries, my heart really bleeds when I think of Afghanistan. I mean, that women can't be at university. They're excluded, they're crying, they want to have education, and this is not happening. In Iran, the ladies, the students, you know, they go on the street without a veil, and this is a revolution. You have to think about what basics aren't even given in some regimes. But I still believe that we can be looking in the future because it's happening, and as you said, the younger generation will also continue to fight for equity and inclusion, and not only of women, gender equality, but for all diverse groups, you know, and nationalities or religion, because there's so much discrimination still going on. But we are on a good path, but we need peace. That's why I really embrace the idea of the Institute for Peace, because without peace, there is no tourism. There is no tourism. And there is also no gender equality without climate justice. There's no gender justice without climate justice. So I think we have many things to tackle still. We have to fight for climate justice, you know, with action plans to see how we can do it. But we have to get the women also in the boat, because they're very, very important also for climate action plans, because normally they even have a heavier burden. If you know, there's this example in Kerala where the flood is coming because of climate change, and it's the women who are in the kitchen, and the kitchen is the first room in the house which gets flooded. So they put stones in the middle of the kitchen not to be standing in the morning at 5 o'clock in the water, because climate change is happening. I mean, these are examples which really make you wake up, you know. And so, yeah, let's fight for climate justice, let's fight for gender equality, and let's celebrate women
exactly
for what they're doing.
Thank you. And sticking with you, I mean, you've dedicated most of your life to working on human rights and diversity and inclusion. Do you feel that we've really come a long way on that journey? And also, for all the women who are in this room and at this fair, what are the practical, really, like, if there was one or two practical things that we could do to really help drive that agenda forwards, what would that look like for you?
Well, for me, it's always raising awareness, talking about it, speaking
raising
about
awareness.
it. Yeah, and education, you know. And I don't know what to do, how we can really help also that education can happen in countries where it's very difficult. But this is the main thing. I think I really believe in educating and creating awareness, and we need advocates, and we all have to be advocates for gender equality. And the men, of course, you know, all of us together, not only the women, because, yeah.
So raising awareness would be a good thing to focus on. Debbie, so Flynn Partners is a global marketing company that is famous for putting purpose at the heart of its business from both a client and an employee perspective. Can you share with us some examples, just again, very practical examples of what you've experienced either as an employee or you know, through the work you've done with your clients?
Well, I think the book I mentioned earlier, by the way, is called Secrets of Spraka. And Spraka in Icelandic means extraordinary women. And it's all about how they are changing the world. And it's about this tiny nation that are leading the charge in gender equality. I think another great example, and actually this is a gentleman who I see leading the way, Abraham Oster, who was talking to me about something new he has launched called Mystical Balkans, which is only launched this week, I believe. Great example of pulling together, it's an MOU with Serbia, Montenegro, and obviously Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is actually meant to show that you can, if the examples I gave you in Morocco are very similar. It's all about sharing cultures and sharing understanding. So I think that's probably the most important thing in terms of some of the press work we do. The more press, when you go back to communication, that we can get out to experience these tours, meeting local communities, actually shares that message across the world and shares the cultures.
Thank you. Brilliant. Okay, Helena, you've spent many years traveling around the world, and both professionally and personally, and living in very different cultures, Asia, you're all over Europe and so on. I mean, what's your best experience been in terms of promoting gender equality, would you say, or experiences that you'd like to share with our audience?
It's a very tough one, because wherever you travel, you kind of see best and worst of both worlds. But one of the things I feel personally, that when I was running a small resort in southern Cambodia, it was incredibly beautiful, because they have rules that you have to hire 70% of local people, and so if it's an expat running the place. And we had open applications, but I was really proud that we had women in every single department. And going back to what Rika said earlier, when we were renewing the menus in the restaurant, we went to talk to the chefs, the 2 female chefs, and we said to them, "What do you cook at home?" And they were like, "No one's interested." I'm like, I kid you not, they're going to love this. And they got so happy. And for me to see that they actually felt insecure, not knowing what they're doing. But off they went. They picked everything from the gardens, from the fields, and they cooked what they cook at home. And the happy faces, I mean, I was in tears, and I might be soon as well, but they were actually cooking what they've always learned to cook. And they were, I got a loud voice anyway. And they were so happy to see all these foreign nationals and local people coming there and loving their food. So it's simple things like that that gave them the feeling that they are equally important. They are really, really important. And it wasn't the gender issue didn't come into hand. It actually raised the fact that because they're women and that's what they learned from their mothers, they can do something big about it. And it sounds small, but for me, it meant the world.
There's one more example I meant to mention, which I think, again, from another part of the world, is we looked after the PR for World Female Ranger Day, which is a fantastic initiative which shows the role of women both guarding and protecting the wildlife, but at the same time communicating how valuable that wildlife is to the local community. And that was something that, again, garnered, global coverage and helped communicate that message about how important the role of women is in tourism and peace.
Because I think that's the important thing, isn't it? It's all about actually demonstrating what you're doing and giving practical examples, because you can't get away anymore with greenwashing or just saying, oh, we're doing something about it. We're really, really short on time, but if I was to say, looking ahead 5 years, what would you say your ideal scenario would be in one sentence, that we have achieved the goal we're trying to achieve? What would that look like for you, Rika?
Well, at least equal pay.
At least equal pay, yes, why not?
I'd say
absolutely.
More women on boards, higher employment, because of course if more women are employed, that contributes to countries' GDP. I think those probably be my 2.
Great. Helena? Home cooking, right?
I love it being the last person. But one of the things I wanted to say, there's an amazing initiative in Africa called African Girls Can Code. And I recently joined a tech company, and it's really exciting because it's very hard to find developers that are female, even in the Nordics where we are based. But for me, that's an amazing initiative. And talking about, like Rika was saying, talking about these initiatives, bringing these alive and seeing like these women got together and were like, we can code. And building these kind of organizations, and I think I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knew 5 years ago what's happened today, but I think we are going to the right direction, and using and learning by example is the best way. And the small stories, at least for me, that are so important, and then having people who can really bring this alive, and thank you to IIPT for that we have this opportunity to talk about gender equality and peace, and talking about these little stories that mean so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. As I said, it was a short, sharp, and incisive dip into that. Please give a round of applause to our panel. Debbie and Helena, if you'd like to go back and sit in the audience. And we now come into the most important and exciting part of this session, the real reason we're all here this afternoon, which is, of course, the presentation of the 2023 Celebrating Her Awards. So, at this stage, I'm going to hand over to you, Rika, and be here as your assistant. Okay?
Oh my God! No, it's wonderful that we finally can do what we're here for, honoring ladies, celebrating ladies who really have been extraordinary in their field, fighting for what they're doing, for fighting for themselves, you know, and believing in a cause. And I think this is so important that you do what you believe in, and the ladies we're honoring today do that. So first of all, let me welcome on stage our dear friend and lady, Carol Hay. Hi, Carol. Hello. I just want to share with the audience, Carol believed, Carol was born in the UK, but Carol believed she was destined for a career in law until she boarded a plane at the age of 18 to travel from the UK to the island of Jamaica, where her parents were born. That trip to discover her culture and heritage really changed her life, propelling her into the world of tourism. After 2 decades in the Caribbean, Carol returned to the UK, where she headed up Antigua and Barbuda's UK and European Marketing Division, followed by 11 years with the Caribbean Tourism Organization as Director for UK and Europe. So I met you presenting the Caribbean here at ITB as well. And it was always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Since 2020, Carol has headed her own tourism development agency, Mackenzie Gill Limited, which leads the Caribbean Tourism Organization Chapter UK and Europe. Carol's passion for the tourism industry has spanned over 3 decades. She continues to make a solid impact through her consulting, training, coaching, and mentoring, whilst raising her voice also for her personal mission of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the industry. Give a big hand to Carol.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know that time is short, so I won't take too long, but I really just want to say I am passionate about tourism. I have experienced myself where through my career in tourism, I've had the opportunity to travel to over 70 countries. And it has been wonderful. I had the opportunity to share my own culture and to embrace others. This career really started for me through mentorship. After I visited Jamaica, I contacted the then director of tourism. I didn't know her. I wrote her a letter. Her name was Carol Guntley. And I said, I want to come to Jamaica. I want a job. She didn't know this kid from England, but she employed me. And right across all the decades I have spent in tourism, she mentored, she coached, she even chided me. I learned from that, and I took from her the passion to help others, and I too have mentored others so that they can strive in their career. So for me, tourism creates peace. It enables us to have a respect for each other. I will continue to work in the tourism industry, to motivate others, and to take the platform for diversity, equity, and inclusion, because I truly believe that tourism is for one and all. So I thank everyone who has been a part of today, and I want to recognize 2 gentlemen in the audience who have supported me. Colin James, CEO of the Antigua and Barbuda Tourism Authority. Florian Valmy de Villas, Director of the Caribbean Tourism Organization Chapter, UK and Europe, started as my intern 7 years ago, and he's now the director. So I just want to say that as females, we will support each other, but we will also support the men so that they know what they should do. Thank you, everyone. Respect to the fellow awardees here, to the panel, to everyone. Thank you. And I wish you all the best in this wonderful career in tourism. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is the one. So we have one is black, the other one is golden, and the one is silver. But it doesn't mean anything. It's diversity. Diversity in colors.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We also have a small other gift for you, Carol. A bottle of wine, which is being donated by Ibrahim Oster, who we've let up on the stage, even though he's a man. Okay, but it's not actually from him. It's actually from Bosnia-Herzegovina wine route. So I hope that you enjoy this very much. There we go.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've only got hand luggage, so join us in the Caribbean.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please sit down, Carol. You can sit here. Yeah, sit here. So now we're coming to the second award. And the second award goes also to a lady who's very close to my heart because she's also she believes what she's doing, and this is what I said before. So Yaya is a freelance journalist. Please come on stage. And she is the founder of the Gender Responsible Tourism Association, GRT, a team of communication, responsible tourism, and gender experts promoting women's empowerment in tourism. And I remember when I had met you, when I was through the years really trying to work for gender equality, and I was in the internet, and I said, there must be something, and then I found you. And since then, you're also always joining ITB, and thank you for doing that, and for being at all the panels which are related to diversity and gender equality. So as a communications and information group, GRT publishes information about the best travel destinations where women are the protagonists. It's also the antenna of a global network receiving, transmitting, and linking up with initiatives with individual women, with enterprises and associations and institutions. Yaya has undertaken assignments for international organizations, including the UNDP for a Sustainable Ecotourism Project in Yemen. She has reported worldwide about women's empowerment and tourism development in destinations. So here she is. Congratulations.
Thank you. Can I also say something?
Yes, of course. Where's the...
Okay. I just wanted to turn the thing around, and because in my experience I saw tens of women and projects made for them, by them, for women travelers, etc. But then I wanted to say one thing. When I once took a course about crisis resolution, and of course the teacher explained how to get out from crisis with different ways. And then I introduced how about tourism and how about responsible tourism. And crisis, I mean wars, hurricanes, earthquakes, food, dryness, climate, etc. And so we started discussing about tourism. And I must say that I found out that many of the women I have interviewed or I have visited, they have been inspiration to me because of the way they were actually acting to solve problem solving for crisis. And the strongest examples of women fighting for development are the ones I have seen in countries that are emerging from a crisis, wars, earthquakes, etc. And so that in the articles in my website and other places, you can see the articles about Ronnie, Selma, Chini, Amina, and others, because they actually went out to clean up the streets, to rebuild houses, for example, to plant plants in the gardens, these kind of things. For example, some Palestinians, they were cooking on the roof of their house for tourism, of course, for tourists after whenever it was in the peace moments. But then they really are inspiring. And so I introduced one of the subjects that I want to throw to you is crisis resolution is a subject well studied, but responsible tourism is a possible solution. So there are many examples of great initiatives, and I can tell you that women are the first one to build bridges for peace with the most unexpected tools. So that's my message.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So please, Aya Peramonte from Italy.
Thank you. Grazie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Not Italian wine. It's
Herzegovinian wine.
So now there's another wonderful lady, which unfortunately, please sit down, which unfortunately can't be with us today, but she is there, I mean, virtually. That's, we have to get used to it, that sometimes we only meet remotely, but I'm sure in the next occasion, maybe of ITB, we can meet finally in person. Please welcome Rupinder Brar, all the way from India. Rupinder worked in the Ministry of Tourism as the Additional Director General, in the precarious time for tourism and hospitality when COVID completely halted travel and tourism worldwide, but also in India. So the need was to devise out-of-box strategies to keep the industry afloat. For a country of India's size and diversity, the challenges were huge, but so was the opportunity to showcase incredible India's diverse offerings to a domestic market. The innovative Dekho Apna Desh campaign, which translates as See Your Own Country, played a huge role in keeping the domestic industry afloat. And imagine in a country like India, which is so big. So she collaborated with the Ministry of Home in enabling a pan-Indian framework for increased safety in tourism spaces, and she got awarded the Director General Police Commendation Disc for developing a plan for the same. And she spearheaded the Pan-Indian Employment Generation Digital Training Plan for tourist guides. So, Rupinder, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Rika. And namaste, everyone. Namaste from India. At the outset, of course, I wish I was there because nothing like being physical, but this is a reminder that COVID was just with us some time back. At the outset, I want to thank the International Institute for Peace through Tourism for giving me this great honor. As I receive this award, I'm actually both really humbled but also encouraged to take forward the story of my ancient, diverse, and incredible country. I want to thank my team members here and co-workers who worked tirelessly in very difficult times, very challenging, and did not even once complain about very, very tough schedules and some of my really crazy ideas. Friends from the travel and tourism industry, friends like Ajay, who actually stood rock solid. Not only were they surviving, but they were working with us very closely, giving us out-of-box ideas, and we all would spend hours thinking on what could we do, and a lot of things that happened were a result of that collaboration, co-working, as we curated digital methodologies and platforms for promoting Incredible India. My very close friends, who never let my enthusiasm go down because it used to get very lonely sometimes because one really didn't know where the world was headed. And they offered to help whenever and wherever I needed, and they were my sounding boards too. And my family, I would really want to thank both my mom, a very young mom of 83, and an old daughter of 27, who not once complained about my long hours and neglecting them at times. And they have always been a part of the solutions of my life and have always encouraged me to go that extra mile. So those thanks go to all these people to make sure that I could do what I could do. Receiving but an award at this juncture actually bestows more responsibility on all of us. Today is the International Women's Day, and yes, it's a day to remember the contribution that women have been making. And I want to say that in India, in fact, in the informal sector, the women have been making a lot of contribution, but it's time for us to recognize that and bring that on board and also make sure that they actually get recognized for a lot that they are already doing. I therefore want to take this occasion to reach out to all of you and say that let's go work, co-create, and take forward the story that everyone before me has talked about, the role that women can play, and truly tourism can empower women like no other sector. In a country like India, where we have so much diversity and so much sheer wealth of all kinds, tangible and intangible heritage, there's just endless opportunity for women. So I want to welcome all of you to come and visit our country. Ajay already mentioned that this year, we have India heading the presidency of G20. And so that's a lovely year to be in India. We are a land of very deep philosophies from the Vedas and the Upanishads, the Gita of Lord Krishna. Lord Buddha attained enlightenment in our land, but that's only one part of it. We also have Bollywood here. We have the dance form, the music forms, the very famous Indian curry and the spices, if you have the appetite for it, textiles, paintings, sculptures, and not to forget, most importantly, the very warm, welcoming way that we receive our guests. And there are women behind that. And therefore, on the International Women's Day, I want to salute all the women in the industry, not only in India, but across the world, who are going that little extra mile and making sure that every guest is looked after. We are dedicated to working towards sustainable tourism practices, where again, women are leading in India from whether it's a homestay or whether these are the large hospitality setups. So lots happening. And all I want to therefore say, I know we are really short on time, but that if you've never visited our incredible India before this, do come in. And if you have visited India, then do come in again. We are waiting for you. Thank you once again. I'm most honored to receive the award. Namaste.
Thank you. And here it is. Can you see it? Next to your picture.
I can.
There
I
it
can.
is. We will send it to you. Shall we send the wine too?
I was going to say, what about the wine?
Well, maybe I come to India and I bring the wine. That
Okay.
would be a good solution.
Sounds like a deal.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations to all the lady winners here. And if you haven't seen it, in Hall 7.1A, there's an exhibition of all the winning ladies of the last 6 years. And next year, your conterfei will be there as well, your portrait. So wonderful. Thank you again. Thank you so much. And let's celebrate women.
Thank you so much, Rika, and thank you and congratulations to our gorgeous ladies who are the winners. Ajay, I don't know if you're still online and just want to say your congratulations because we're now going to close this event. Is Ajay still online?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
All right. All right. So congratulations, ladies. I mean, I think the passion that you've all exhibited is testament that what we're doing over here, Rika and I, what we started, and of course, Daniela is a past award winner of ours. It's great to have you all here. And just to drive home the point of where women are going, you know, India is a cricket crazy nation. But today, we have a women's cricket league, which is happening in India and which is drawing huge crowds. So ladies, your time is here. Thank you for being here. We love you. And of course, Helena and Debbie and Daniela and Rika, you are my angels. Thank you for coming to the rescue every time. Love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have
Bye.
a wonderful
Thank you,
ITB
Ajay.
and see you. Back to you, Daniela.
Thank you, Ajay, and thank you very much to all of those of you in the audience. I hope you enjoyed this celebration, and please enjoy the rest of your ITB, and thank you for being with us.